Now we're recording in progress.
Now we're recording.
All right. Welcome to the Creative AI Show. What do we have this week, Bryon?
Hey, Rosh, happy to be here. We are two creative guys talking AI. And you know what? I had a really good week with AI. And
Yeah.
I realized that I've been using it on my phone a lot more. And part of that is the only real way to get Sora 2 going right now is with a mobile app that I was
Makes
able to
me
get some
mad.
stuff going. It's a little frustrating. Yeah, I wish we could just use our normal chat GPT, but I got some good things going from with Sora 2. And then I just realized that, hey, there was some AI functions built into my iPhone that I'd never used before,
Mm.
just with photo editing and stuff. So I'll go over that. And then also just the way that I use chat GPT, I tend to lean more towards the mobile than the desktop, mostly because I don't want to type and I can talk into it. So I'll go into all those kind of details and just being able to have a conversation, have another friend. You know, when you don't pick up the phone, Rosh, I just pick up my chat GPT and that's that's when I need a friend.
Yeah, there you go.
What do you have going on today, my friend?
I totally understand. Hey, so we both dove into Veo 3.1 last week, and
Yeah.
Leonardo picked it up as well as some other platforms. So we'll definitely talk about that. I have a
Yeah.
comparison. I have a surprise comparison in
Ooh.
that whole comparison scenario. And
I'm
then I
now on
want to
the
talk
edge of
about
my
Claude.
seat.
Say that again?
Okay. I'm on the edge of my seat now.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Absolutely. Hey, Claude, they have their new skills folder, which
Ooh.
expands to a number of different areas that we need to talk about as it comes as it has to do with agents and how we're going to be working with AI. So I
So
think
not
that
like
that'll be a good
Napoleon
conversation.
Dynamite nunchuck skills, none of that. No, it's
Yeah,
just
well, you know, that's what
maybe.
Sora's for.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's good. But yeah, I've been loving Claude, but I've been using it very base level for just writing prompts and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So I'm really excited to hear what you got to say about that.
sure thing. All right, what do you
Awesome.
got?
Yeah, let's dive on in. So, just talking to the creatives out there, and I think people have this mindset that ChatGPT is like just a desktop thing. And, there's so much AI constantly getting shoved into our phones that I realized that I'm using my phone now for AI and for, ideas and, now video creation. I'm using it kind of just as much as I'm using desktop now.
Hmm.
And I thought this would be a good topic for our audience to hear. First of all, there is the revolutionary video processor Sora 2 that's from OpenAI through ChatGPT. And you can't use it through ChatGPT, like how you can access Veo through Gemini
Yeah.
or, some of these different ones like that. Sora 2 has been a little bit more proprietary, a little more secretive, if you will, like a waitlist. You run a waitlist, right?
Yeah, well, it's available elsewhere. You mean like you
Hmm.
can go to Fall AI and get it there, but my monthly subscription is now
Yeah.
$20 versus 200
Right.
because
Because they
I
didn't give
have
it to you.
no access to the newest thing in
Yeah.
in the pro plan. So
Right.
it kind of upset me. Yeah, I yeah.
I
It
get it.
upset me.
I get it 100%. And yeah, I'm thinking, hey, I'm paying 20 a month. I get all these features. Why can't I use this on here? And then so I had a conversation with ChatGPT and said, hey, how and where can I use this? And it's like, hey, if you have an iPhone or, if you just use your phone, go to the App Store and type in Sora. Here's what the logo looks like. Download it, see how it does for you.
Yeah, if you
And
have an iPhone.
yeah, and I
This
and,
is not
and I do. Ah,
I'm
so
Samsung.
see, this is what I
Again,
call
mad.
non-iPhone
Two
comments.
reasons to be mad.
Yeah, two strikes against you right now. But I used it, and I was a little frustrated because it's got a lot of safeties and rules put up to where you can't animate anything that actually has like a human face in
Hmm.
it. So I had to kind of take abstract pictures. I did like a cool picture I took on my business card, and we've got a little Scotty dog as our
Hmm.
logo. And I told it, hey, animate this Scotty dog to run around the business card and like
Oh, fun.
bark and have fun. And it was pretty good. And then it's prompt to scene. So, not frame to scene, but prompt to scene. I did a few different scenes where I was like, hey, I want to see a football watching party where the Lions fans are lions, actual lions, and the
Hmm.
Packers fans are actual blocks of cheese. And and
That's
have them
fair.
watching a game together. And and I said at the end, maybe one of these lions takes a little bite of cheese.
Nice.
From the Detroit perspective on that. And It was really good. I mean, it was just as good as anything I've seen from Veo 3 or,
Hmm.
Kling 2.5 or any of these other ones. So that's fun. I'm starting to have, just some exploring with Sora, but I'm using my phone for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then I realized that I did a family photo shoot this weekend, beautiful fall colors out
Hmm.
here, everything like that. And just use my iPhone and a clicker. Portrait mode is able to do the detecting of people's face, so it's nice and in zoom and everything like that. Look great. But, I've got this beautiful tree in the front yard. And yes, my mom does now live across the street from me, and it's in her front yard. And as part of this photo was like her front door. And I'm like, this kind of kills the vibe of this. And there's a magic erase function now in your
Sure.
iPhone that you can highlight that area of the door. And it took this beautiful orange tree and just kind of extended the tree down and covered her house.
Hmm.
Perfect. It was great. So I actually shared this photo with a few people and I was like, hey, can you see where I used the AI? I mean, nobody had the answer,
Yeah.
even my mom, and it was her house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can do. I don't know
Mhm.
if I told the story. Maybe it was last weekend. I I was talking about my dog outside who loves this deer that is in our yard. So we have like a
Mhm.
fenced section in our yard. One side's the dog, the other side's the little deer. And so my wife's like, well, we should just bring it and put it in the crate. And so I took a picture of the dog in the crate that evening, and it's right by our bed, and then said to ChatGPT as I uploaded the photo, put a little baby deer in there, put a fawn in there.
That's
And it was
nice.
perfect.
It was good. Oh,
Absolutely.
wow.
You couldn't even tell. She freaked out. She looked, I said, okay.
That's
and,
funny.
and there's a little baby
Yeah.
deer next to the husky, and they're just kind of cuddling.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can generate these things. Your brain's really the only limiter here, and that's
yeah,
why, you can't be creative and use AI at the same
yeah,
time.
it's funny.
These aren't things that are just separate ideas. This is something that, when you combine different things and different just outside of the box concepts, you can, really use it and be creative with it. And speaking of being creative and using the phone, we both have spoke, about being part of BNI groups. It's for, our
Hmm.
networking group of choice.
Sure.
And this upcoming week for my 30-second commercial, I already have something pre-programmed into my Chat GPT chat buddy where I'm going to, prompt him with a thing or two and he's going to give my commercial for me.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
talking about, just the importance of doing social media and the AI age and being
Hmm.
found online and on digital reputation, so on and so forth. But this is going to be a way to get people's attention to be creative in the way that I'm delivering my 30-second commercial
Right.
and a little bit different, but also just from purely a lazy standpoint
Hmm.
of now that this thing does so much work for me, I don't even want to type anymore. That's how lazy I've become to get answers on things. So I will find myself at my desktop, logged into ChatGPT. I can see all my previous chats, and I'll pick up my phone and open up my app and talk into it for a
Yeah.
little bit and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And it'll just be like I'm having a conversation with you right now, but it's dictating and listening to everything I'm saying. And then it gets the whole thing going. And then I pop over to desktop and maybe say, hey, switch this over to a canvas. Let's, get into it and deep dive. And it's just become a collaboration partner. And what I find is great is me being a creative type worker. Sometimes I need to go outside and just take like a 5 to 10 minute walk
Right.
and walk through the woods and just go and just kind of clear my brain or at least gather my thoughts. And now it's like I'm taking my personal assistant with me on that walk and dictating to them all the things that I'm trying to accomplish. I can start to get a conversation going, talking, not quite just to myself, but to this to get the creative flow started instead of trying to wrap your head around all these ideas and get back to your desk and get working at it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So,
I use the voice mode all the time.
yeah.
And yeah, I have sometimes, well, when I have to get to the studio, it's 40 minutes away now, 35,
Yeah.
40 minutes away, depending on traffic. So I'm having a conversation, going through different things, different ideas, concepts.
Hmm.
And or even do a little research. Hey, what's the information on this or that? And okay, now let's look at it this way and look at it that way, and just have that full on conversation during the
Right.
drive. It makes it much more productive.
Yeah. Yeah, and no, gone is the stigma of hey, this dude's talking to himself. Everyone
Yeah,
knows
'cause the
that,
phone. Yes.
So yeah, it's a really different way that you kind of wrap your head around using technology in a different way. And I think that's kind of the purpose of our show here, is to tell the audience exactly all the different types of way that we are using this technology, and hopefully it sparks something new with somebody.
Even
That's
if
really
it's
the
putting a little fun in the cage, the crate with
right.
your husky,
Yeah,
you know?
but it's fun
So
family stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I took a clip that I took from band practice and I brought it on over to Aleph and made it look like we were performing outside in the rain, and it worked. It
nice,
was great.
nice.
Yeah,
No,
so that's from
I,
Runway for people who don't know. It's a video editor. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, from Runway, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many different platforms in which you can use and experiment with. I mean, but even for everyday stuff, I just started working on my budget for the new year, and
yeah,
I all in on the AI, analyzing the numbers, looking, uploading information, having it analyze what's good, bad, and indifferent, and maybe what I should cut. And so it's been really powerful. And I feel really good about what's coming up just because I've engaged it like a
right.
partner in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun and it remembers. You can come back and continue the conversation. And yeah, so it's, definitely I encourage the people out there listening, use
Yeah.
your phone for AI. So cool. All right, we'll throw it back your way.
So, since we're on this topic, I'm going to save the Kling and Veo side till the second part and really
Cool.
just talk about Claude and what they've released. They've released skills, and it's kind of it's basically for those repetition elements in your day or things you want the AI to have information on, sake of argument. If you had a restaurant and you had recipes or your list of what the specials are or whatever it may be, or if you have specific pricing or if you have specific skills that you wanted to remember or know that's kind of proprietary or your angle or your philosophy
Right.
or whatever it may be, you can now create a skill and it's more of a like just a Word document in a sense. You save it in a specific type of file folder system and it will know and remember. So it's kind of like it's just a step beyond memory because you can always use and upload those same skills,
Now, do you have
to
to reference that skill when you want it to use that
yeah,
skill?
yeah, I
Okay.
believe so. It's still, I mean, you upload it, and yeah, you can reference it. I have not played with it that deeply because it's that new. I've read up on it. I've looked at what the file systems is actually a certain file type that I've seen,
Okay.
and it looks like there's a lot. It's kind of it's kind of in between tasks and an agent and memory. It's kind of
Yeah.
bringing it all together in a way that's just makes it really a lot easier for people to say, okay, I'm doing this all the time,
Mm.
but I have to open up a new chat and I wanted to remember this skill,
Yeah.
quite honestly. It's really I have to dig in deeper and use it more because I mean there are variations of this when you create, say, a folder system or a project in say OpenAI or ChatGPT, and you can actually bring over, for example, those skills to ChatGPT and
Hmm.
use them there too. Um, you could do this in your own way just by having a text document and say,
Right.
here's the text document, remember these things. But this is something that I think that goes into the system and stays. You don't have to add it
Yeah.
every time. That's the big difference. And so we really have to start digging into it. Like I said, just released, and I've just been reading up on it. I've gone over to Claude, but I haven't really dug in, like beyond saying, "Hey, I want to talk about it." It looks like a really helpful thing for people who don't want to go so deep into agents, but have something that they do regularly and just want that task to be able to be done in a proper, maybe procedural way.
Yeah, and this is a way to make these kinds of tools, I guess, a bit more accessible, really, because
Yeah.
I think there's a fear of the unknown of how to use an agent or different things, and it's like, if you can kind of walk your way into using one, is there any sort of thoughts or ideas that you have, in your business you'd be willing to share of skills that you'd want to try to apply?
Well, it could be how do I write a proposal?
Mm,
how do I put together a photography quote? What are the things that when it
right.
needs to know, I can give it this basic information, and then it can go through and develop and even write the whole thing for you,
Yeah.
and be customized to that specific client. It could be, maybe a way in which you develop your marketing. This is the way I like to do things, but let's work together.
Right.
Think, just elements like that. And I think that Claude is Claude in general is really going after the general market now. They released this week also Haiku 4.5, which is available to everyone.
Hmm.
And I think it's unlimited. I mean, it's just something that now, where before, if you really want something good from Claude, you got to pay your $20.
Right.
Not now. Haiku
Okay.
4.5. So these kinds of things, I mean, are going to continue to become part of the everyday, which kind of leads me to this thought. Yeah, I read an article and I would like your 2 cents on this, is that I read an article from one of the co-founders of OpenAI, and he's like, "Oh yeah, 10 years before, agents are really doing the work." And then of course you read another article, another opinion. Yeah, AI is taking all your jobs next week. And the
Yeah.
truth is it's I think both are
Somewhere.
true.
Right.
Both are
Somewhere in
true.
between, but it's dependent on the job for sure.
Yeah, exactly right. Because some things are being slowly eaten away, but for you to just let agents go and not even, come back in a month,
Right.
that's not there yet. Not even close. You still need somebody to monitor. You still need somebody to provide the skills, provide the recipes. And that's another thing I thought about with skills, is that it's kind of like when we talked about agents, you got to provide them with the recipe. Do
Right.
this, do that, do that, do that. It's that kind of a thing, that maybe just kind of preloaded and easy to access within your AI.
Yeah. I mean, sort of quick side point of a way that I use the agent, very similar to what you just stated, but I did an on-site shoot on a Friday
Mhm.
for like 7 hours. I was there till like 1 in the morning. Oh, ex-client came crawling back, wanted me to shoot on site, but I had always been very kind with my pricing before because they were a reoccurring month over month client. But this time I
Mhm.
was like, no, I want to put together a completely fair proposal that will be worth my time. So I had the agent on ChatGPT do the research, find out what the rates are going for, a drone pilot and on-site video
Yeah.
and how to put this whole package together and do the research in Michigan prices.
Hmm.
And it did a great job, provided me the resources and the backbone that I needed to be like, no, I'm not going to charge my, couple $100 that I might. No, I'm on site for 7 hours. I might have 5 hours of editing afterwards.
Right.
I'm going to give you a fair rate. And they didn't balk at it. They took it. So I was like, hey, thank you
Yay, team.
for, making me this much more prepared going into this.
I think you'd be surprised how often, if you actually use the AIs for pricing,
Hmm.
it's not a bad way to go. For example, I did that last week. Now, for actually what I was looking for, it's a new client coming on board, and I was curious to how much the average ad buy might be for,
Ooh,
say, Michigan, and then regionally. So let's take it per state, for example, and just kind of a minimum, and then a mid-level, then aggressive, kind of a national approach. And
right.
it really showed, and it broke it down, and averages for that industry and so forth. So it was very helpful, and it gave me a guide to help the client make a decision as
Yeah.
to how aggressive or not they want to be, and not to undercut them, say, hey, you should have spent more, when, or you're spending too much. You don't want that either. So
Right. Yeah, very good. I mean, again, ChatGPT 5, I think when it first came out, we were a little like, I don't know how it's doing. It's been so solid for me for the past month or so. Like
yeah.
just the way it integrates everything and builds. And I've been working on stuff building Canvas and having it export PDFs that I'm sending to the client to show a potential workflow of a complex project. All
Hmm.
sorts of just fun ways to kind of interact this and just help me be a better business owner.
Right.
Whereas, I'm primarily a creative. So the business side of things sometimes I need
Yeah.
that framework and that structure to help me.
I think that's exactly it. And I think you hit it right on there with being a bit better business owner. As a
Mhm.
creative, just what I've just been doing the last few days is
Right.
making me a better business owner, a more efficient business owner. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then thinking about how we can add more of these technologies as part of what we do. Maybe you can't afford to hire somebody full time, but you can certainly develop an agent that may be able to at least assist you in the process. May not
Right.
be equal to a full-on professional at this point, but it's going to be pretty good and very helpful.
Well, and at this point, I think is a very important part of the sentence you just said there, because hey, if we're getting the ball rolling with this stuff in its infancy, then once it gets good, we're going to be really good at using it being good.
Yeah.
And it should be a multiplication factor. I mean, I think, the optimist in me with the AI revolution that we're in the middle of is that we are going to have an onslaught of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
People who didn't think they were qualified to run their own business before, maybe got let go from a white collar job and are
Hmm.
taking their specific interest, maybe whatever it is they do on the weekends or something, and developing that into a larger business plan. And we're going to have a large variety of services and creative different ways for people to run businesses. So,
I think so many people, just think of AI as a little chat bot right now
yeah,
and don't
exactly.
realize the level of what is available. And of
Yeah.
course, we'll talk about that in our next section.
Well, yeah, let's dive into that next section. So, yeah, we both, I know, did a lot of work this week. So, the big news in the world of AI video was, the kind of, I wouldn't say undisputed king, but the one who generally wins our comparisons, which is Google Veo. Google Veo 3 has been very strong. So, they just introduced a slight update with 3.1. Now, according to the notes here from Google, there was nothing really groundbreaking about 3.1, outside of the fact that, better prompt adherence with a more complex prompt, which I did see in some of
Yep.
mine. Um, and, it just a little bit better with textures and movements and realism and just stuff of that in that mindset. Now, Veo 3 was so good that I didn't see a huge like leap forward. I
It was more
definitely
the
still,
features. It was the more the
yeah, yeah.
features, the first
Well,
and last frame and
yep,
ingredients.
ingredients, right. But one of those features, the first and last frame, I didn't think was good at all.
Yes.
It struggled so much, whereas other ones where I've done first and last frame, say like Hailuo, other ones like that did way better. Where, like say for example, I had a scene where it was like this underwater door, and this door opened and it turned into this like coral room, like
Mm,
picture Little Mermaid's room, but realistic,
right.
Obviously, for some people that was a cartoon. Well, no, there was the real version that came out later. But anyway, so it made this transition. It showed the initial door. The animation was okay. And all of a sudden, we get to the last second of it, and this room that it interpreted from the last frame was slightly different. So it just all of a sudden then transitioned to the last frame, kind
Hmm.
of harshly, and where it was like, we're almost there. All right, cool. Here's the end frame. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it should be moving straight to that end frame.
I found exactly that too.
Okay.
I thought it did well with ingredients,
Yeah. Okay.
in Flow, and that was that, and I used it in Flow for exactly that, and it worked well. But then I compared it to in Leonardo.
Mm,
They have 2.5, and they have Veo 3.1, and they have the first and last frame, and I compared that, and Kling ate its lunch.
yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely ate VO3.1's lunch. It wasn't, I mean, it was just what you said. It was basically just VO3 just transitioned. Like
Yeah.
here's frame one, here's frame two.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where Kling morphed it all together and worked it in a really positive, exactly what you were thinking. You just didn't know how
Right.
the end result was going to be, but it's the direction you thought it was going to go, where
Yeah.
the VO3 didn't. It just dropped the ball. I think one of them it did well, where it was a chef in a kitchen making a cake, and it
Okay.
did transition well. It won that one, but the other two,
Yeah.
Kling won.
I
E-
had 1 out of 3 that went well for me as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, same kind of situation. So um, then there's the other side of the coin here with these newest updates with the Kling 2.5, Veo 3.1 is audio.
yeah,
Now, I put up a video yesterday about ASMR videos, which
right.
if the audience doesn't know what an ASMR video is, it's those videos where you can tell like the motion is slow and subtle and soft, and the sound effects that
Soft
are happening are
conversation.
exactly just
Yes.
little bits of
Yeah,
paper rustling.
right,
Uh,
right.
but just those types of sounds, and I guess certain people they will actually get like a chilling, tingling feeling in the back of their neck and like a calming, relaxing thing. And I guess it's only a certain portion of the population that experiences that, but other people in general just enjoy those types of videos.
Hmm.
And so when I was playing with Kling 2.5, they have a whole extra section on the side for the audio prompts.
Hmm.
Now, this is the first time I've seen this update where you've got a section where you can prompt all of the sound effects. And this is separate from your standard prompt. So there's three areas to put in prompts now.
Hmm.
And so you could do your general prompt about what the video is going to be. And again, Kling 2.5, if you just put in a prompt to video, that's kind of its strongest area.
Yeah.
So when you don't start with a frame, but you let the engine do its thing. And then you add in all of the little sound effects that you're looking for. So like one of them was
Right.
somebody slowly turning the page of a leather book, and just that sound of your fingers on the paper and the page turning and the crumple of the book.
Right.
And it's like you have your volume slider and it puts it at like 500% for the sound effects. But then there's a music prompt to where you can,
Right.
say I had one that was calligraphy and it was like kind of in like Japanese letters. So I was like soft, Japanese type music that you would see in maybe, like a meditative kind of place. And that then combines with the sound effects to create this overall thing. And
Yeah.
I was like, with the right prompting, I'm actually getting better audio from Kling 2.5 than I am from Veo 3. And that's kind of
Really.
Veo 3 3.1's their claim to fame, is that audio is really good.
Yeah.
And that's where Sora's coming after them, because its audio is really,
Right.
really
I think it's because VO is automatic and
good.
Kling is not, and you do have to do the prompting. And I must concede, I probably have not dug too deeply. I mean, I have used both the music and there is a button underneath the video, and I add that later
Yeah.
after it creates the video. I'll
Oh, yeah,
add
the
to it.
AI, yeah, the AI music or AI soundtrack video. I know
Yeah,
which button you're
well, yeah,
talking
there are
about.
two buttons right underneath. One's for music, one's or yeah, I think it's one's for music, but one of them is just you can use voice and conversation. It's
Right.
not as good. I mean, it has not been as good for me. Maybe the stuff on the what you're talking about on the left side there would have been better
Yeah.
overall is part of the creation. But I think once Kling gets audio down, we
Yeah.
have a throwdown match going
Oh,
because
big time. Yeah.
they are just, I mean, their physics it's just looking great. It's working really well.
The video I did yesterday, I produced 5 different videos, and 4 out of the 5 of them, I was ready to give the video portion a perfect 10 out of 10. I
Nice.
saw, and there were hands moving stuff and
Yeah.
doing things. And so, I mean, it's physics engine, it's actual, realistic. And, again, hands are kind of the big struggle for AI. Were absolutely perfect. And then all of a sudden you start getting in high quality audio. And then the last thing I wanted to mention with Kling 2.5 is underneath the music and the audio prompt, there's a button for ASMR mode. And
Oh, I
that's
didn't
what
know that.
gave, yeah, so that's what gave me the idea to do the ASMR video, because I'm like, hey, this is going to really do exactly what I'm looking for, where it's those little sound effects getting amplified. And it worked really, really well. So I suggest to our audience to try to, use that mode, prompt your audio, prompt, your music in the background. But the main area where Kling 2.5 is struggling at this point still, and I'm sure you've seen it too, is dialogue.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, but
But
Veo
again,
3
once
and
they get
Sora
it, they're going
2,
to get it.
yeah.
You know it. And
Hmm.
they're going to do it well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I would say those three right now are kind of racing in the lead, and Minimax is right there with them too. I
125
highly,
is really good.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't used that one yet,
With
so
their audio. Yeah, it's Juan, it's VO3, and it's Sora. Those are the three right now
okay.
in terms of audio, all in one. Yeah.
Well, very good. Yeah, so it's exciting. I mean, again, if all these engines were perfect, we really wouldn't have a purpose for our show yet. We're here to show you guys the good and the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and focus on the wins really. But we're going to show you some of the pitfalls that we fall into as well, where things don't go so well. It's not
Yeah.
always going to be sunny weather every day. So yeah, but it's fun. It's an exciting time to be a creative and to be able to harness these tools.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you've been listening to two creative guys talking AI.
We'll talk to you next week. Thank you for listening.